Hey, what the hell's going on, you guys? This is Play Negative AE, and welcome back to this mess. We're just going to go ahead and continue with all the stuff that we know we can click on, which is this one. And then continue to break stuff if we can't click on things. Is pretty much my plan for the rest of this. The plan for Satoko-chan's dissection is moving right along. I don't want Satoshi-kun to be sad. I feel sympathetic about Satoko-chan's difficult circumstances. I'm still struggling with the fact that I must sacrifice so much for this research. Idiot? Huh? Sorry. What is it, Rika-chan? One of my friends has been in the clinic for a long time. Do you think she has the Hinamizawa syndrome? Who told you that? No one, I just thought that. What do you think, idiot? Does Satoko have the Hinamizawa syndrome? Rika-chan is on our side. There's nothing I have to hide from her. Actually, I think I shouldn't keep anything from her. Yes. Problems with her parents and their sudden death. It was all too much for her to accept. And maybe those events even triggered it. What did the test results say? L5. She seems to be okay on the outside, but she's very unstable emotionally. She has been refusing even Satoshi-kun's visits since the other day. Satoshi told me. He's worried that it'll take a very long time for Satoko to heal emotionally. Idiot. What will happen to Satoko? Satoko-chan is Rika-chan's best friend. How can I tell her that Satoko-chan's dissection is being planned? However, even if I didn't say anything, she already knows that Satoko-chan's situation is extremely bad. Didn't you find out a lot of things when you checked me? Sure, of course. There's even some medicine being tested which may control the symptoms. Can't you give that medicine to Satoko? Thought about it, but it's too dangerous. We're still in the trial stages trying to gather more data. We can't use it on someone who's in a delicate condition like Satoko-chan. Then, if you aren't going to try that medicine, what will happen to Satoko? She speaks as if she already knows Satoko-chan will end up being dissected. She must know. I've told her about most of my research. If she's more mature than she looks, then it'll be easier for her to figure out. There's even a 1% chance of Satoko getting better, then I think we should take that chance. It's extremely risky. In the worst case scenario, she may end up being a vegetable. It's too cruel. So you're saying it's better to let her die while she's asleep? Idiot. Just like Takano says, there's no 100% medicine. But if we don't do anything, Satoko will die for sure. I think it's clear what we should do. That's true. You're right. But I know too well. C103, the medicine that's being tested, may not be something that could be used. It may not even have a 1% chance. If she reacts to the medicine, I can't even imagine what will happen. That's why I'm tempted to think it's more than merciful to let her have what she wants first and then dissect her while she's asleep. I don't want to admit it, but something. Takano-san is right. I'm still being indecisive. How could an indecisive person like me create something that's effective? That's why I can't trust what I've created. I think we can trust the medicine you created. She speaks as if she read my mind. I look up and see a very positive look in her eyes. People's lives depend on your job. It's almost absurd that a human being controls life and death. You know what just occurred to me? Just now. It's something I noticed like way back. But I was like, Rika, I was like, who did I say was a demon? Freaking, I thought everybody was a demon because they could read my mind. But if there's like a parasite thing going on, maybe we can all know what each other is thinking. Or like be on the same kind of wavelength path because of the parasite. Maybe they communicate or some shit. That would be interesting. That would be crazy if they just pulled that out and that's actually how it works. That'd be cool. I should make a story. I feel inspired to write a story after reading this. Her voice sounds the same, but I feel like Rika-chan is admonishing me. She almost sounds like if she knows what it is like to be responsible for human lives. The pressure includes guilt and regret. That's why you can't use the medicine on Satoko. Isn't that right? Kano-san said the same thing when she criticized me before. Being criticized again. But that's why I can trust you with the Kano. Human lives are precious. You understand that very well. That's why you're doing what you're doing. Without knowing that, how could you heal people? You think I'd trust medicine created by Takano, who thinks humans are just like guinea pigs? I shouldn't have laughed, but I couldn't help it. I felt like I should laugh. You and Takano each handed out your medicine. I think your medicine would cure hers, and hers wouldn't. That's because your medicine came from your heart. Your will to heal people is what cures people. You're absolutely right. Can't believe you're admonishing me about medicine. I'll let you use my body for Satoko. Everything you took out of my body is for Satoko. You created medicine, realizing how precious lives are. Then of course, it'll work on Satoko. Do shrine maidens take confessions? If they do, she's doing a great job of being a shrine maiden at this age. This will be a gamble. The question is whether Satoko-chan will accept it. We don't need to tell her. It'll only damage her more to know about the Hinamizawa syndrome. True meaning of her words. When I realized it later, I was surprised how thoughtful and repetitive she was. Let's stop the dissection plan. We're going to give Hojo Satoko C103. I'll do my best to increase the chance by even 1%. Don't worry, EDA. It'll work. You shouldn't be so optimistic. I know it'll work. It's already decided. You say this is the Shrine Maiden of the Furude Shrine, don't you? You can do it. Yeah. Cute. But interesting to say the least. Alright, what else is unlocked? I feel like we're just gonna go down this list, huh? Seems like they're unlocking one after another. Go to the next one. The experiment of medicine C103 on Satoko is going well so far. It wouldn't make any difference to me if the experiment failed. However, as a result of EDA's extraordinary devotion, Hojo Satoko didn't end up a vegetable. Although she reached L5 or level L5, there's hope for her to go back to normal. C103 still has many issues, but the experiment proved that even a person who has L5 can be cured. I didn't believe in it at first, but I guess I have to acknowledge EDA's effort. Only EDA could have done this. He was tormented by naive humanism and didn't want to make mistakes. That's why he felt obligated to cure Hojo Satoko. The reason I dislike EDA isn't because of his achievement or his ability, but because of his weakness. But this time I had to praise him for that. I saw your report. I'm impressed. Please don't. I only did my job. I'm grateful that I was able to cure her. Satoko-chan is an extremely important example now. She's the first one to come back from L5. It's true. We'll let her go back to society and keep our eyes on her. I'm going back to tell her to come here every Sunday for a checkup. But how are you going to explain to her that she has to give herself a C103 shot 3 times a day, and also that she has to come here every Sunday? She has no subjective symptoms. I'm still trying to come up with a good excuse. I think I'll tell her I want her to help me with my research report. She has to give herself shots daily and to come here every Sunday for a checkup. I'll pay her for helping me, or something like that. I guess EDA is determined to cure Hojo Satoko no matter what. He must be determined not to dissect her. He definitely has a different point of view than I do, but as long as he's passionate about the research, I have no objection. His plan will come to a completely different conclusion, and it'll help solve the mysteries of the Hinamizawa syndrome. I have nothing against Hojo Satoko. I only see her as a specimen for the research. If she is useful for the research without being dissected, then that's perfectly fine with me. We have to get permission from her guardian for giving shots 3 times a day. After her parents died, her aunt and uncle have been taking care of her, right? Maybe I'll go talk to them. I hope they agree to her involvement in the suspicious research. But don't worry. I'm sure they'll be happy to once they realize they'll receive 100,000 to 200,000 yen every month for helping. Do we have enough money? Sure. As long as if we can come up with enough material to convince Jiro-san. Okay, then I'll work on that. We'll also have to make sure that Satoko-chan doesn't feel pressured. We don't want her to go back to L5. I hear her aunt and uncle are rather egotistic. So if we use money, maybe they could be convinced easily. I have to come up with a good tactic too. I heard Satoko-chan isn't getting along with her aunt and uncle. Never thought that'd affect us in any way. And now Irie has to deal with them. Maybe he feels some kind of responsibility? I don't care. If he becomes more passionate, then the research will make progress. That'll be a plus for me. By the way, I saw the report on H170. Oh. Compared to your success, it's nothing, but I guess it was some kind of accomplishment. This is ironic. The medicine used to cure her from insanity was created at the same research center we were making dangerous medicine that would make her insane. EDA wasn't involved in the H170 research. That was my research. In fact, even if I asked him, he wouldn't have agreed to be involved. This dangerous medicine was made during the process of studying a mechanism of the pathogen that was controlled Hojo Satoko's brain. Put it in simpler terms, if you give H170 to patients with the Hinamizawa syndrome, they will become deadly insane. The brain will be stimulated, and as a result, it'll make the pathogen unstable. If we continue the research on this dangerous medicine, it could be possible to drive any Hinamizawa syndrome patient deadly insane at any time. By studying the mechanism, it'll help solve the mysteries of the Hinamizawa syndrome. So this study on the H170 will be extremely important in future research. Also, this medicine has a military use as the client requested. At this point, there's absolutely no use for it. Once the research progresses, this C170 may be used by scattering it at the right moment for a certain type of reaction. Did I say C137? Or did I say C107? What's C137? That's something. I don't know. C137. Why does that sound so familiar? Why does C137 sound so familiar? Compared to a killer virus, it seems like a useless pathogen. But there's no way to detect it in a body, which makes it look like a person just went insane spontaneously, so there must be a use for it. The Roko Bridge incident threatened to the end of the Hinamizawa syndrome research before. A historically important incident like that couldn't have been created by a killer virus. It's possible with the Hinamizawa syndrome. The elderly people from the Alphabet Project, the sponsor from this research, can think about whatever they want about that. I don't care how they use it. My purpose is to solve the mysteries of the Hinamizawa syndrome and let people know how important this research is. Also, to make people acknowledge my grandfather's accomplishment and achievement. I couldn't care less if they diverted it to military use. The clients will like your accomplishment. Maybe the budget will increase next term. Passion alone can't keep the research going. We need money. We must thank the sponsor who gives us such abundant funds. For this money to come from some public expenses, Japan is richer than I thought. It's public expenses, but it's public expenses that can't be made public. EDA has no idea what I had to go through to get that. Anyway, the research is going extremely well. We don't know what we'll find out about the Hinamizawa syndrome, but I'm sure every mystery will be solved. I can't hardly wait. The Hinamizawa syndrome is indicating that humans are simply empty containers, and what we believe is our will is controlled by parasites that live in our brains. With that, If that mystery is solved, then it would have been a greater impact than anything that happened in the past. There's a truth that nobody wants to believe. The achievement of my grandfather, already predicted a long time ago, will happen. I know now. I know the reason why my grandfather was so fascinated by this research. Ha ha ha. I'm curious about a lot of things. I imagine we're gonna clear up, so if we're clearing up everything, I feel like we clear up. I feel like we clear up Satoshi. I feel like we clear up. Well, we already kind of cleared up Satoko. He's just crazy. I'm kind of curious about Maebara Keiichi. And, like, I don't know if that'll be answered ever. There's a lot. The Choken-chan's dissection plan has been scrubbed, and we are ready to administer a totally unsafe test medicine, C-103. C-137. Is that from, like a teenage robot? I remember J9 was Jenny. I'm off on a tangent because I don't know, C-137 just sounds so familiar, and I think my mind immediately goes to J9, which is a robot from a kids TV show on Nickelodeon. But I don't know. This test medicine suppresses the production of a certain type of hormone, and by doing so, it will stop the transmission of the Inamizawa syndrome, which triggers Satoko-chan's condition. The mechanism of the Inamizawa syndrome is this. The pathogen takes control over the frontal lobe of the patient's brain, which causes the patient to be extra sensitive and to be paranoid. And as a result, the patient voluntarily carries out excessively defensive, problematic behaviors. If this induction can be cut off, then it'll be possible to save the terminal phase patients from being deranged. But it only cuts off as an induction, so it's not really a cure. Ironically, the brain is an organ that learns. Once the brain has learned to be excessively paranoid due to the Namizawa syndrome, even after the pathogen is eliminated, the brain has already learned not to resist paranoia. In other words, even if the pathogen doesn't induce the condition, the patient voluntarily induces it. Therefore, there is no way to cleanly escape from a near mad condition like L5. The proverb blowing the sashimi after being burned by the hot soup refers to such situations. Okay. Even after your tongue burn heals, you still have a fixed fear of being burned by food again. Oh, I guess, yeah, okay. It's called learning a lesson in a good way and trauma in a bad way. This treatment will probably take a long time, and requiring medical treatment such as administering antidepressants and emotional treatment such as counseling. We also have to slowly relax the paranoia while suppressing the Hinamizawa syndrome's induction of derangement. This is the treatment plan for terminal phase patients like Satoko-chan. However, we are going to stimulate the parts of her brain that control her emotions while they are being stimulated by the pathogen at the same time. There's a possibility of the unexpected side effects. Her physical and mental strength hold the key to success. The experiment is supposed to start once she regains emotional stability and physical strength. But someone who threatens to disturb her emotional stability has been coming every day. Uishi, sly old detective from the Okonomiya station. He thinks everything from the dam protests to the dismembering murder of the dam construction site manager is an organized crime secretly conducted by the three families of the village. He even thinks that the accident involving Satoko-chan's parents wasn't an accident. That's why he keeps coming back, so he can talk to Satoko-chan. Why don't you just tell him what the fuck's going on? Sorry, no, that's not the case. There's a disease called the Hinamizawa syndrome, and it's doing this. I feel like the reason he thinks that is because no one tells him otherwise. People just hide things from him. No matter how many times you come, I won't let you see so that she's still crippled in the shock of her parents' death. Can't you understand what she's been going through? I understand. I only need a few minutes with her, really. It won't take long at all. If you want me to get a warrant, I will, but that's pretty serious, you know? I'm being considerate of the Hojo-san's condition. That's why I haven't gotten a warrant. Why are you trying to ask her anyway? I just don't get it. Well, there's a possibility the fall was an incident, not an accident. I know the Hyoja couple was rather hated by the whole village, but since the business with the dam, but who would actually follow them on their trip and push them? Don't you think that's absurd? Well, we could call it an accident, but if that's the case, there are still some lies which just don't make sense. Why the lies? That's why I don't think it was an accident. What lies? Well, Ojo Sosoko-san says she was asleep at the time of the accident. I don't think that makes sense. Toko-chan claims that she was asleep in the back seat when the accident took place. So she didn't get out of the car at the viewing platform. When she woke up, she didn't see her parents. And then she found out her parents had fallen off the cliff. Where's the lie? You aren't saying Satoko-chan wasn't really asleep and went to the viewing platform with her parents, are you? That's right. Ojo Satoko-san wasn't asleep. She went to the viewing platform with her parents. Suddenly hit by a terrible possibility. What if Oishi-san is saying... What if what Oishi-san is saying is true and Satoko-chan is saying she didn't go to the viewing platform even though she actually did? It's terrible to even imagine. Why are you saying such a thing? Besides, why would Satoko-chan lie? That's it. Why would Hojo Satoko-san lie? That's why I need to talk to her. Otherwise, this won't be a simple accident. Why do you say Satoko-chan is lying? The accident took place in a different jurisdiction. The guys from the Shirakawa station conducted interviews of the parties involved. There are things that bother me in their report. Bother you? Like what? According to Hojo Satoko-san's statement, her parents asked her to go to the viewing platform, but she was sleepy, so she didn't get out of the car. Then she fell asleep and woke up after a while. She became concerned because her parents didn't come back and started to cry. One of the patrolling park workers noticed her crying and talked to her, and that's how the accident was discovered. During that time, the park worker told him that her parents had fallen off. She told him that the parents had fallen off the cliff, but it's hard to see the accident site in question from where the car was parked. If you look very carefully, you might be able to notice the broken fence. But I think it's odd to say your parents had fallen off a cliff just because you don't see them when you woke up. Normally, most people would say something like their parents went for a walk and didn't come back. To me, it just doesn't make sense that she told the stranger that her parents had fallen off a cliff without even being at the site of the accident. I want to ask her why she was certain that her parents had fallen off the cliff. That's why I keep coming back here. I asked her many times because she was admitted here, or before she was admitted here, but all she said was she doesn't remember or that she was confused all the time. Sounds like some politician, huh? That's why I think it's worth taking the time to talk to her. Terrifying imagination turns to certainty. I assumed her parents' accident triggered the terminal phase symptoms. But no. Toko-chan was already in the terminal phase back then, just before the accident. Her heart was filled with paranoia that drove her crazy. She was stressed out because of a bad relationship with her stepfather. Also, she was scolded by her mother for not being able to get along with him. That made her paranoid. Made her think her parents considered her to be a bother and they were trying to kill her. When they went to the viewing platform, she must have thought they were going to push her off the cliff. Then a tragedy took place and she pushed her parents off the cliff. Though she considers it self-defense. Certain of it. Because I know about the Hinamizawa syndrome better than anyone. This accident isn't an accident. It isn't a crime either, like Oishi is thinking. It's simply a very, very sad tragedy. When I talked to Satoshi-kun about the family, my belief was deepened even more. Because he told me even though Satoko-chan refused to open up to her stepfather, He tried to communicate with her. It's true the relationship didn't go well in the beginning. Satoko-chan caused trouble repeatedly, and she even called the city's child abuse hotline. The child consultation center stepped in at this point, and they pointed out that the lack of communication was a problem. Her father, or the stepfather, followed the advice and took the city's parenting course. At least, he tried to communicate with her. Satoshi-kun saw his effort, so he tried to tell Satoko-chan about it. But Satoko-chan couldn't see his effort. Excessive stress triggered some terminal phase symptoms, and she couldn't understand her stepfather's remorse and effort. On the contrary, her stepfather's change created even more mistrust in her. As a result, to enjoy the view of the Shirakawa Nature Park as a family and share the joy, even a humble family wish didn't get through to Satoko-chan. What a sad misunderstanding. Satoko-chan stayed in the car, telling her parents that she wanted to sleep, but then she got out and sneaked behind them. I bet he heard the footsteps. He pretended not to notice her, thinking that she was doing that to surprise him. Makes me sad to think what he must have been thinking. While he thought if he had finally gotten through to her, he was actually attacking him with an intent to kill. But it's not Satoko-chan's true nature. It's the disease. Satoko-chan isn't the only one to be pitied. Her parents who were pushed off the cliff are victims too. And now Oishi thinks she's a criminal. Judgment and punishment are required for crimes with malicious intent. But what she really needs is understanding and sympathy. No one has that understanding except for me, because I know about the Hinamizawa syndrome. Hey, look. I guess we can't tell him because, like, it's a secret government thing, and we're not allowed to tell everybody. But, like, come on. It's like, I don't know. I'm the director of the EDA institution, but I've never acted that way or abused the authority. But for the first time since I took the position, and I'm going to use it. I'm not doing it as the head of the EDA institution, the secret research institution. I'm doing it as doctor to protect Satoko-chan. It's about Satoko-chan's parents' accident at the Shirakawa Park. Do you think I can ask Okonogi-san from the Mountain Hounds to put an end to it as an accident? Sure, of course, that's no problem. The Mountain Hounds unit is specialized with concealment and manipulation, after all. You're right, we have to put an end to it quickly, otherwise the police will be a bother getting closer to our research. That's right. Especially, please make sure Oishi-san is drawn away from this case. We're at a delicate stage of drug administration test. He doesn't need any unnecessary stress. You're absolutely right. I'll let the Mountain Hounds know. I have heard they even have connections with the police, so I'll give them an order to put pressure on them too. I'm sure the accident in Shirakawa will be concluded as an accident within a few days. It's confirmed as an accident. Only if it was really an accident, it would have eased Satoko-chan's soul. Getting rid of the pathogen doesn't heal the wounded soul, nor does it erase the sad tragedy that already took place. All I can do now is to do my best so the day that she regains her smile comes sooner. Okay. Okie doke. I mean, that's what I thought happened. I thought Satoko pushed her parents out the... Well, to be fair, I thought that there was like a bunch of demons. There's only one demon. So I thought like Satoko also had like a demon. But to be honest, they all have demons, because the demon is technically the disease. But there's actually like a demon god. Yeah, it's just taking us. I think it's just taking us from level to level. So here we are. Rika developed a high fever, a very high fever. Not flu season or a season for any type of contagious disease. But then I remember the suspicious experiment Rika had gone through. Maybe the fever is caused by that. Her growth is rather slow compared to children her age. Receiving mysterious shots and going through experiments every week, I'm sure her body is exhausted. It's best the staff to go easy on her, but Rika herself is fearless and is willing to go through anything. My husband, who should be the one to warn her about it, truly believes that it involves the lives of over 2,000 villagers, and he's the one taking her to the clinic every week. I'm the only one who's sincerely worried about Rika's health. That's why I want to ask Dr. EDA to be a little more considerate towards Rika. Anyway, I have to talk to them about taking responsibility for this. Right after I called, the clinic staff member came to pick Rika up to admit her at the clinic. As a guardian, I followed. Please calm down. We'll make sure she'll be okay, so please wait for a while. How can I calm down? Why did she come down with such a high fever? Isn't this caused by the suspicious experiment you performed last week? Rika's just a little girl. She cares about her friend, and that's why she's going through this. I understand. There's no way our research will affect Rika-san in a negative way. Besides, we're being extremely cautious about things, so that won't happen. That explain this high fever. The season is changing. How could this be a simple cold? This is because of the suspicious shot you gave her. Dr. EDA only tells me to calm down and refuses to accept the responsibility. Sounds like some customer service people I have to deal with. They wash their clothes and stuff dies on their clothes and they're like, well, I don't know. My husband told me this is an emergency for the village and that's why I've held back my suspicion until today. But I'm at the limit. The existence of these people has been suspicious from the beginning. The research is conducted in secrecy using a privacy policy as an excuse. That's far too suspicious. That's just impossible. In fact, I've called the Ministry of Health before and was told that such a thing doesn't exist. Even after I told them I'm Furude Rika's mother. They even came up with stupid excuses saying the normal workers often don't know of a special institute like theirs. That doesn't make sense at all. It's too suspicious. Also, these are people who don't appear to be researchers. There are people who don't appear to be researchers in the institute. They look like security guards, but they seem so different from normal security guards at a normal hospital. Actually, I have seen by accident that they're armed with guns. That is... Are they policemen? I don't think so. Who are you all anyway? I refuse to believe that you're from the Ministry of Health. It appears Dr. EDA is taken aback because of my intensity, and he can't even answer properly. They are still hiding a lot from us. That tells me the research they are working on with Rika isn't anything honest. Anyway, I'm Rika's guardian. Rika is still a child. It doesn't matter what she says. I won't let her participate in this research anymore. Oh my. It's Rika-chan's mother. Hello. Oh, what's the matter? Is everything okay? Rika-chan's mother says she won't let Rika-chan participate in the research anymore. Why is that? She's not a guinea pig, that's why. We never treated her that way. You're misunderstanding us. I'm a little startled. Dr. EDA is rather a wimp who would back off when pushed. But Takano-san is different. I'm yelling at her, but she's not afraid at all. On the contrary, her eyes are glaring and she looks as if she's about to jump on me. Rika-chan's fever is caused by a cold. We didn't cause it. When it comes to safety and sanitation, we pay the same level of attention as a national research center. I don't mean to be rude, but considering you walk around while holding Rika's hands without disinfecting your hands with alcohol first, we are more sanitary by far. We're not talking about that. Anyhow, Rika isn't your toy. She'll never come back here. You can't decide that by yourself. You and your husband both signed the statement of consent, right? We have been depositing money, and that by no means a small amount, into your account every single month for her cooperation in the research. I know nothing about any money. I've never even heard of it. Rika receiving money for participating in the research is news to me. Knowing my husband's character, he wouldn't have used it as spending money behind my back. I bet he thought of this as a free service for the villagers and completely forgot about the money being deposited into our account. There haven't been any strange deposits in the regular account, so it must be in the savings account. Anyway, I don't care about that. If you want to breach the contract, we have to ask you to return the full amount of deposits we've made up until this point. Also, if one party is at fault for the breach of contract. Kano-san, please calm down. Miss Furude, too. Just as I explained to you before, we must find a cure for the Hinamizawa syndrome so the villagers can continue to live without worries. For that reason, we need to have Rika-san participate in the research. Tell me, when are you going to find the cure? It doesn't make sense. At first you said this was for Rika's friend, Satoko-chan. But Satoko-chan has already been released from the clinic and is carrying on with a happy life now. You told my husband 2 weeks ago that you've already found a cure, didn't you? Or yes. I think I've told him something like that. But to solve the mysteries of the Hinamizawa syndrome. You didn't mention anything about solving the mysteries in the beginning. Rika was to participate to find a cure for the villagers. Then her job is done. All the research and experiments you're performing on Rika have nothing to do with the cure. You're doing them out of your own interests, aren't I right? That's not true. It really isn't. Anyway, Rika-san's cold is just a misunderstanding. If you still feel that suspicious, then that's enough. Since money is involved here, I'll have to discuss it with my husband. Excuse me. They were too shady from the very beginning. Because of the exaggerated story, Rika and my husband took their side, but it won't work on me. Anyhow, I must settle things with them now. Because Rika isn't their toy. I especially don't trust that woman called Takano. Man, I kind of, I understand where she's coming from. But from a customer service background, she sounds like one of the worst customers. She's like, I agree to this, and now I want to pull out because I have suspicions now. But she's under the Hinamizawa syndrome, right? Like, that's the explanation, right? Is we're seeing someone go dive into the Hinamizawa syndrome. She's about to get herself killed because at the end of the day, Takano's not going to let that happen, right? Like, Takano's going to be like, no, screw that. And I imagine that's why Rika-chan's parents are dead. And I think that's what they're trying to go at right here is that their parents fight Takano, and anybody that gets in Takano's way just dies. Which is interesting, to say the least. Neither my husband nor Rika noticed that. I must protect her. I must protect Rika as a mother. Not like you, Takano-san. Getting into an argument with her like that only makes things more complicated. Not like you at all. I know. Sorry for losing my cool. Something happened to her to be in a bad mood? The emotional conversation she had just now isn't like her at all. Yeah, that's another. Well, I guess if that happens, Takano loses everything, so she has to kill the mom. And Takano has the mountain hound, so she could disguise it as anything, right? Right? You know what I'm saying? All right, we got this crack now. Jesus, the situation has changed. Rika's father suddenly changed his mind about helping out with the research. When Rika came down with the high fever the other day, her mother, who wasn't happy about her daughter helping with the research, finally blew up. I was hoping her father would convince her about the research somehow, but now he seems to be on her side. Rika's father wasn't as emotional as her mother, but he demanded we finish the research within 3 months, which is completely unrealistic. Research can't have a deadline, that's out of the question. We achieve accomplishments by using our knowledge and our efforts for working for a long time. To take away time from us is like taking away what's vital to live. How can he say such a thing? Damn it. Rika's parents are saying that because they don't know anything about the scientific research. However, they are the parents of the Queen Carrier after all, so we are completely lost about what to do. The tests and experiments on the Queen Carrier are essential of the Hinamizawa syndrome research. Her existence is the focal point of the research. To lose her is like losing a sense of direction out in open water. Rika is agreeing to help, but losing her parents' consent may deadlock the research. The situation is extremely serious. Rika's parents are only interested in finding a cure, but to me the cure is only a small part of solving the mystery. I can't let her go. Are our differences causing this predicament? And it's not only them. The same is happening between EDA and me. He thinks that it's inevitable to stop the research if Rika's parents refuse to consent. That's understandable. EDA never had the determination to solve the mystery of the Hinamizawa syndrome from the beginning. He won't back down from the research assertively, but he will passively by agreeing with Rika's parents. Is that the attitude of a researcher who is after solving mysteries? He is the type of man who would step on my grandfather's research with his dirty feet. He is simply a coward who is in this half-heartedly. He started to feel guilty about his past when he saw blood. He isn't qualified to be involved in researching the Hinamizawa syndrome. He is simply an outsider who joined in because of the client's arrangements. If I were a man, he wouldn't be here in the first place. He did a great job developing a cure, but it seems that he is satisfied with it and is willing to end the research. How could he feel that way? Is he Is he satisfied with he made an accomplishment? Doesn't he care about the rest? Don't you have the right to dispose? You don't have the right to dispose of my grandfather's research. I'm reading everything wrong today. I can feel my guts boiling. No, ADA isn't the main person at fault. It's her, Rika's mother. If she wasn't so selfish, this wouldn't have happened. Maybe it's partly my fault. I maintained trust through relationships and obligations all this time. But somehow Rika's mother and I didn't get along, so I didn't try to socialize with her. I thought it was fine because I got along with Rika and her father. But now the mother has influenced the father and changed his decision. How could I let that happen? The tables have turned. What a blunder. The EA told me to talk to the office in Tokyo about what to do next. But I know once Tokyo office finds out about this, they'll order us to stop the research. I've worked so hard to start this research. If they hear anything negative, they'll stop right away. I've come too far to complete my grandfather's research. I can't let it be stopped. Or I can't let it stop. I still have little time to think about this. I need to calm down and think carefully. I could always come up with a good idea every time I was in a tough situation. I look up and close my eyes, very gently. There were times when I couldn't find a solution, but someone else came up with a simple solution. I was always able to overcome tough situations. I endured all the hell at the orphanage. We'll never let that woman get in the way. Calm down. Think calmly. Calm down, Takanomiya. Someone else may come up with a better idea. I wonder if calm down is like a symptom of the Hinamizawa syndrome? Because I feel like that's a theme, right? Because it's all one virus, so like it would do the same thing to you, right? Not me, it can't be EDA. Of course, nobody from the village will do. Do I talk to someone in Tokyo? No, I can't. I don't want to owe anyone a favor. Even Koizumi-sensei would be disgusted if he finds out I can't solve such a simple matter myself. I know. There's someone I can talk to nearby. They're supposed to be my subordinates, so it's worth talking to them. I call the leader of the Mountain Hounds, Okanogi. Mountain Hounds are my subordinates, but they are the self-defense force, and I am a researcher. We never really had a chance to interact. He did what he was supposed to, and I did what I was supposed to. I never even thought of discussing anything with him. But the Mountain Hounds are there to protect and support our research. Why didn't I think of talking to him before? Jesus. Have I seen this person before? Is this what Okanogi looks like? He has green hair? What a difficult situation. He used to speak standard Japanese, but now he has the Hinamizawa accent. I guess fitting into the region is the first thing they need to do. We may lose the Queen Carrier, and not only that, her mother may expose the secret project. Can you do something about it? I asked Okanogi rather directly. I'm not really expecting an answer, but okay. The Mountain Hounds will take care of it. Just give us a little time and we'll do a clean job. Take care of it? We'll make sure the police won't be involved. We need a little time to prep, but it won't be difficult. I'm startled. In fact, Rika's mother is my enemy, and I was thinking about how I can convince her. But the leader of the Mountain Hounds, the counterintelligence unit whose duty it is to protect the secret research, came up with a much simpler plan. Do you mean to kill her? To protect the secret research, I was told to do whatever is necessary. Of course, we won't do anything until we get an order. Right. This is a very simple problem to him. Rika's mother caused a problem and started to interfere with our research. Not only that, there's a chance she might talk about this with the research center. Or about this research center, so they will eliminate her. That sounds like a good idea. Can you do a good job? That's why we are here. This will be the biggest job since the kidnapping of the minister's grandson. That's right. The Mountain Hounds are the ones who kidnapped the grandson of the Minister of Construction and threatened him. It has been a few years, so I completely forgot about that, but they did such a marvelous job then. That's right. I have the Mountain Hounds on my side. Can you get on with it right away? You could easily kill her, even tonight. They create too much of a fuss. We'll make it look like she disappeared, so give us a little time to make some arrangements. And just like a cat's eyes under a bright light, I can feel something in the back of my eyes open up. I've been pondering how to take down my enemies or how to persuade them to my side. Yet this man came up with such a simple solution. You're like a bird taking its first flight. How easily I can get rid of that annoying mother, and all I have to do is give an order. I am grateful to Koizumi-sensei for giving me such wonderful subordinates. What wonderful power he has given me. I was taught that all people are equal, but if I have power to control people's lives, then that means I'm more powerful than others. What a feeling to be above others is. So you just want Furude Rika's mother to disappear? Well, wait a minute. Did he ask only Furude Rika's mother? The chills all over my body. If possible, maybe I should have her father disappear too. Rika is willing to help. There are no other relatives in the Furude family. If both parents die, she has to depend on someone. The NegativeAE institution can support her. We can give her status, money, protection. We can give her everything. Doing so, maybe it's possible to make her one of us, rather than having her as a helper. All my worries are melting away. What I was worried about seems like a joke now. I had such powerful subordinates all this time, yet I never realized. All of my tension is released and I'm starting to feel relaxed. I can feel myself calming down. I'm going to get rid of them. Rika's parents. The queen carrier is my guinea pig. The guinea pig doesn't need parents. That's right. It's almost time for the Watanagashi festival. If they die on that day, people will call it the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. The murder case from 2 years ago and the incident from last year are two separate incidents, yet because they happened on the day of Watanagashi, they were called the Curse of Oyashiro-sama. Then, if her parents' deaths all occur at this year's Watanagashi, it'll be Oyashiro-sama's curse 3 years in a row. Miracle of Oyashiro-sama. And also the curse. I'm going to create them. This is a chance for me to ascend to godhood and play with human fate. 2 incidents that occurred 2 years in a row are said to be a curse, but not everyone believes that. However, if things happen 3 years in a row, then everyone has to believe. That's a good plan. I mean, it worked, right? That'll be a true curse that's created by me. I'll be Oyashiro-sama. My desire for revenge against God is coming together. Making her disappear isn't that fun, is it? When I start to laugh, Okunogi grins to show his interest. We're going to create the curse of Oyashiro-sama. Can't just let her die. She'll be demoned away, and I'm going to enjoy dissecting her alive. Of course, I won't just have fun. This will be extremely useful in the research, because one of them is the previous queen carrier. Gotcha. So, I learned a couple of things there. We're probably going to end the episode there, because this is 2 parts. I actually started recording midway through, so if the audio sounds weird, that's why. I started recording one day, and then several weeks passed, because some crap happened. So, if the audio sounds different halfway through, that's why. Interesting. So I was under the impression that it was not the Mountain Hounds that did the... Was it explained to me that the Mountain Hounds had did that before, or was that the first time they mentioned it? Because I feel like they may have mentioned it before, but during that moment just there, that surprised me a little bit. Because in the back of my head, for some reason, I always thought it was the village that did it. Because of the riots, and that was like... But I think what it is just the old lady taking credit for everything because she wants to be scary. And it's weird because the Sonozaki family is almost instigating everything. Like, if the Sonozaki family didn't exist, it wouldn't be instigated as much as it is, because part of the reason why everybody thinks it's like shit's going on and they have all the power is because of the meeting between, or not the meeting, but they take credit for everything that they don't do. The only thing well, you know what I kind of don't get? And maybe I'm like misremembering, because it's been like I've been playing the series for so long. I'm sorry, I had to think for a second, but when Rika when Rika came in and she was like going crazy, and was it just okay? You remember when Mion, who isn't Mion, or Shion, basically, she took over as Mion because she was actually Mion, because they had switched at birth or something like that, or they had switched and then never switched back. She was like going crazy, right? And then she was like waiting for Rika, like Rika was stopping by for like stuff, but then Rika came by and like tried to kill her, and like because okay, so the stuff in the, oh my goodness, that's so crazy. So in that episode, she was obviously going crazy. So there's one part to that where she just goes crazy, and that was all like thought up. But then Rika stabs herself with or no, what's her name stabs Rika with the syringe that she had, and she gets like L5 and claws her throat out. Right? Why would Rika want to do that to her? I don't know. Maybe it's been explained and I'm just kind of barking up the wrong tree. But that's an interesting part of the story, right? I don't know. I feel like we know a lot, right? Satoshi's still alive, right? Two. I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot at the end. I'm just kind of going over story beats in my head to make sure that I understand everything as we come up to the end here. Satoshi's still alive, right? So at some point he gets on a train never to come back again. Are they gearing up to say that that's them dissecting Satoshi alive? Or are they saying, or are they like experimenting with him by sending him away? I don't know. But then, I don't know. There's so much. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. I am going to record another one because it's been so long. And that one will go up right after this one, so you should see that tomorrow. Yeah. Anyway. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Whenever that is, and well, tomorrow. And peace out, you guys.